So good morning all. Respected higher authorities who are present tonight, and faculty members and students who are here, who are 12 students, and we have the students in other department is also there. So it is actually the importance of this webinar is that we should know what is the importance of biomedical engineering. Okay, so many of them are not aware of that. So we will like to inform the otherwise convey what is the importance of this engineering, biomedical engineering in the field of medical field. So actually our guest is also, it's a privilege for me to tell that he is my student also, and he's 2014 batch. And then afterwards he converted because we have a section for introduction of chief guest also. So on that time, Sharnila will inform more about the chief guest.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Am I audible?
Sonal?
Sharnila, can you start?
Yeah, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please continue.
So, a very good morning to one and all present here. It brings me great joy in introducing our chief guest for the day, Mr. Janardhan Panchakumar. Mr. Panchakumar completed his bachelor's in biomedical engineering, followed by MS in Italy in 2019. He proceeded to work as a biomedical engineer at Niort International Hospital and is currently an international service specialist dealing with the instrumentation laboratory in Werfen. He aims towards the development of biomedical engineering and the enhancement of medical care through technical expertise and determination. Once again, we welcome you, sir. I would kindly request you to address the students.
Good morning, everybody present here, including the respected staff members of SRM, including my, I would always call her my HOD, Ushas ma'am. Thank you for inviting me. It is a great honor for me to be a part of this and to give some information, some kind of inspiration to young students to take the career path of biomedical engineering. I just want to ask a kind request for all of the students, including the teachers, if it's possible for you, kindly turn on your cameras, because it will be really good for me to see your faces, and it will be really an interactive session. So this is something that is going on the past year. We are incorporating a lot and lots of meetings, lots and lots of online events. And the more effective way to do that is to always have the camera on, because I don't want to be speaking to, So whoever possible, please, students, especially students, I want to see your faces and your reactions. So kindly switch on your cameras. So let me very, very briefly talk about my company where I'm working right now. It is also a part of the presentation today, because I'm going to speak to you about the roles and the industries where biomedical engineers are going to be employed, because uh, the most important questions that students ask even before taking a course right now is, what is the scope of the course? Where am I going to be placed? What is my future going to be like? So if you know what roles you actually play in the medical field and the importance of it, and the variety of scope that our biomedical engineering has, I think it will pull you towards a very good direction. In that light, I'm going to just give a very quick presentation. This is not going to be a presentation where I'm going to go through a lot of slides. Okay, I want it to be more interactive. Try to answer. Just put on your microphone and answer whenever a question is asked. Please don't let me be the only one speaking. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to talk about Werfen. Please confirm if you could see my screen now.
Yeah, it's okay. Can you make it as full screen?
Yes.
Just
a moment. Okay. Okay, so Werfen at a glance. I'm not going to go through all the slides, just going to give very briefly what Werfen is. So I don't know how many of you are aware, the students, about IVD. So IVD is in vitro diagnostics. It's a very big part of biomedical engineering, which is left uncovered during our bachelor's and also during our the onboarding of our career, because we always go with big companies and we often outlook IVD industry, which is a very huge industry. So very quickly, what is IVD? It deals with mainly diagnostics. So you go into a laboratory, you see every hospital has a laboratory, which is the biggest part of the income of the hospital. And of course, the laboratory has a lot of instruments and also lot of methodologies to diagnose the patients, and then the lab is actually the starting point of any diagnostics. So my company Werfen is actually a global leader in vitro diagnostics, and they have pioneered a lot of tests that are useful in diagnosing very differential analysis. What I mean is difficult tests that are not very easy to catch in the early phases of infection. So this company is Werfen is privately owned, and it's founded in Barcelona in Spain. And the main business lines are hemostasis, acute care, and autoimmunity. I'm sure these are very new terms for you for 12 students, but of course our biomedical students, you will for sure learn this in your first year. Be very careful and learn more, concentrate more on this, because it's going to be a very big scope for you guys. So our company deals with, it's a corporate Werfen, and it has several companies inside: Instrumentation Laboratory, Innova Diagnostic, BioKit, and we also deal with clinical software, also into medical devices. So of course, we are present more than 30 countries and more than 100 territories. We are distributors. We also have Werfen India, which is located in Delhi. Okay, I'm not going to go all this. Okay, more important, we are divided between various regions. You can see here, you can see this region called EEMEAI, which covers Eastern European countries, Middle East, Africa, and India. So I am a part of this team, and we are located and working from Italy, Milan here. And I am working in the autoimmunity business line, and I'm responsible. I am responsible for service activities that are happening all over these regions. Okay. We are also strongly investing in R&D. So I'm going to explain you all these various scopes, including R&D in today's talk. Okay, I think it's very that's enough for about my company. So going into the topic, so the roles of biomedical engineering. So that's going to be my main topic. What are the various roles that you can play once you graduate? So before that, since there are a lot of even 12th students, just to give an idea on biomedical engineering, I'm going to ask something. I'm going to give you guys a homework to do after the class, but don't worry, it's not going to be something technical like your professors. It's a very fun homework that I'm going to give you. I'm going to ask you guys to watch a Netflix series, okay? It's going to be fun, but it's going to be very, very interesting for you guys. The reason is that I watched the series and I was really proud because throughout the series, 90% of the speakers there are biomedical engineers. So they were talking about the human body, but they are talking it from the perspective of biomedical engineer. So there are world-renowned engineers, biomedical engineers, who are actually in that series. And why I'm going to ask you to watch that. First thing, it gives briefly about our human body, talks about the wonders of the human body, and of course, talks about technologies, innovations that are incorporated in identifying and understanding more about our human body and going into the future. So just to give you a very, have a good introduction to the today's lecture, I'm going to share with you a very quick, the preview of this show, and I highly, highly recommend you guys to watch it. Okay, very quick. Let's watch this. Let me know if you hear the sound. Okay. Otherwise, I mean, if you're not hearing the sound, let me know.
We're about to take a trip through an astonishing universe that lives right inside our bodies to uncover the systems that make us human.
It is billions of cells beating for billions of times in a lifetime, never pausing to rest.
Can we make an advanced prosthetic hand system to restore the sense of touch?
Putting my arm on, it immediately becomes part of me.
At one point, each of us were only one cell big. Cells can collaborate with one another to create very complex beings.
We have about 5 times as many neurons in the gut as we have in the spinal cord. 90% of serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut.
Our immune system is designed to protect us. But cancer usually comes from your own body, and so your immune system is not educated to recognize it as bad.
Fragrance allows you to armchair travel. Giving someone that ability to travel momentarily to that place is something so powerful.
We really are an insanely fascinating species. You strip away everything, we literally are the same organisms. And if that doesn't unify people, then I have no idea what's going to.
So, how did you guys feel after this? I mean, are you interested to watch the series more than to learn biomedical engineering? I don't know. Okay. So what you saw was that a very brief, a very intelligent way to describe biomedical engineering. So what they're doing in that entire series is actually talk more about biomedical engineering, and they're going to do a better job than me. So to 12 students, to high school students who are here, who are not much having an idea what biomedical engineering is, I'm going to give very even maybe they know this, but I'm going to just tell it out. So biomedical engineering is a very diverse career path. And what I want to mention very importantly is that the course of biomedical engineering is what we call in any country you go as an interdisciplinary field. So what does interdisciplinary field actually means is that we're not going to study a single course, but we're going to study a course that is made up of several different fields. So you're not going to only study about, the human body. You're going to study about various technologies. You're going to study math. You're going to study physics. You're going to study a lot of chemistry. Okay, computer science. You're going to learn a lot of programming. And throughout the course of our bachelor's, including myself with my friends, we used to question, why are we learning this? Why are we learning this subject specifically? What is that going to do for me? Trust me, it's going to do a very so much for you guys. So in that sense, I will share my presentation now. Can you print? Okay. So my question today is, suddenly one day you guys have graduated your bachelor's from SRM, and now suddenly you are a biomedical engineer. So what next? What are you going to do next? So this is a question not only specific to biomedical engineers, of course. This is a question that any student asks coming out from any bachelor's degree. Of course, the main two branches are, what next is either going for a job or going for a higher education or in the other academics path. So a huge percentage of you guys are going to go towards the job path. And my aim today is to make you understand where does a biomedical engineer stand in the diverse field of medical science, and what roles he's going to play. In the sense that I want to tell you what exactly the position you're going to be inside a company, and what will be your jobs and responsibilities. Okay, and then do you have the skills to do that, and how you're going to achieve these skills. This will be my main aim of this webinar. So the three important topics that I wrote for you guys is, first, the roles of a biomedical engineer. This will be the core of today's presentation. And then, of course, the skills that you need. And if time permits, I will give you a brief idea about higher education and what you can do to achieve in that direction. So mainly, before going into roles, what are all the different industries where biomedical engineers are employed? So any course you take, there is an industry. For example, if there are mechanical engineer, they're going to work in companies that are going to manufacture cars, or something that deals with mechanical parts of huge machines. But what about biomedical engineers? Do we have a separate industry where we'll work? Of course we have. But industries doesn't actually mean structures that produce some instruments or something. There are very different industries that are available for us, and that is the beauty of our field. So here are the major fields which employ biomedical engineering all the time. So as you see here, the first two that I want to put is medical equipment manufacturer and supplier, and medical device manufacturer and supplier. So you might think, what, he put two different things, equipment, devices, it's all the same? No, it's not the same, it's different. And you will, of course, your teachers will teach you better than me what is equipment and devices. And hospitals, of course. We also work in pharmaceuticals, health sciences, and of course, medical technology. So these are the topics that I'm going to go in detail. So mainly medical equipment manufacturer and medical device manufacturer. What are these two different things? These are the major field, major industry where you are going to work. Most of you guys are going to work. It depends on your interest. So first of all, this is something technical. What is the medical equipment and what is the medical device? So medical equipment Okay, these are the various divisions. There can be diagnostic, therapeutic, some assisting devices, all these things. Okay, I'm not going to go very detailed. It's just for you to show the diversity of what a medical equipment is. Okay, there are several divisions of several categories of device of equipments that are available in our field. And okay, if you take a medical equipment, it is having, okay, these are some of them. I'm going to talk like some of your professors here talking about some block diagrams. What is it? Okay, giving a very quick idea, it's going to be an interaction between, it's a machine that directly interacts with the human body through some technology. So if you take here, an ECG is actually a medical equipment. Okay, why? Because it measures something that comes from your body. Okay, so the machine, the ECG is here, and the human body, the electrodes that are fit, and it's going to take some electrical signals from your body, and we have some interface, which are the electrodes, and this entire system constitutes a medical equipment. So these instruments like ECG or MRI, all these things are going to be your medical equipment. And what are medical devices? So medical devices can range from a simple scissors that a simple scissors or a syringe that a doctor uses for you guys. Okay. Also a stethoscope that the doctor uses in your hospital. All these simple things to surgical instruments, all these things constitute a medical device. So if you see the classification of medical device, you will understand better. So, the class 1, which are no risk at all, such as wheelchair, the scalpel, the plaster that the hospital doctor uses, these are also a medical device. And you can see a sterile a device that sterilizes the operation theater. This is a medical device. It's not going to directly be in the body, but still it's a medical device. Syringes, X-ray device. Why X-ray device is coming under devices and not an equipment? Because it's just taking a picture of your body. It's not going to measure something out of your body. It doesn't have a processor, so it's a medical device. Okay, implants, hip implants, or even tooth implants. All these implants fall under a medical device. Blood bags, implantable plates that you use in surgeries, all these are medical devices. And the most important ones are drug delivery systems. There are some pacemakers that you use in the body. All these fall under medical devices. And you might think, okay, wheelchair is nothing. What is my job in a wheelchair? Okay, don't think that wheelchair is something that is so simple. A wheelchair used in a hospital is a very, very complicated system and has a lot of electronic components, which a biomedical engineer will do because he knows about the use of the wheelchair in a hospital environment. You're going to know about the biomechanics of the people. You're going to know about physiotherapy. You're going to know about rehabilitation, what a patient needs, and then you're going to design the wheelchair that is going to best suit for your patients. So there is innovation there, and of course, who's going to do that? Biomedical engineer is going to do that. So just to give you an idea, why? Because everyone who is going to study biomedical engineering is going to think, okay, I'm going to deal with big instruments like an MRI machine. I'm going to work in an operation theater. I'm going to touch big instruments. Not always, and not always does you deal with these instruments is going to make a big difference. So when you do a small innovation and you're going to work with even smaller systems, for example, a syringe or a pacemaker or even a wheelchair, as I told you. Why? Because when you make these innovations, this is going to create a lots of difference. Okay, as I already told you, the aim of a biomedical engineer should always be the betterment of the patient. Okay, the betterment of the patient, and you're going to see how he's going to benefit from you guys. So in that sense, medical devices are a huge industry. They are a huge market, and you're going to also have a lot and lots of opportunities in working in this field. And at this point, I'm going to stop and just show you the importance of a medical device. You're going to ask me, okay, we know there are big companies that are employing, that are medical equipment companies that are creating big instruments that are used in the hospitals, and I'm really attracted by them. And what companies are going to what companies that are going to make medical devices are not going to achieve more. But I'm going to just show you very quickly a company that is called Stryker. Let me this. Okay, here it is. Okay, can you see my screen? I hope yes. So if you see here, Stryker is a very, very famous and a very global market they have in medical devices. So you see here what all the devices that they make. They make ambulation and equipment management, which includes wheelchairs and bed frames. You see hospital beds, you go to hospital, you see a bed in the ICU, and you think that this is something that they buy somewhere. No, these are something designed by biomedical engineers again, and this is a very huge market. And this is not something very cheap. Hospital beds can range from minimum of 1 lakh rupees in Indian money. So this is a very huge market. So you can see here patient transport, emergency response systems, image guided therapies, ortho disposables, even the personal protective equipment, reconstructive surgeries, all these equipments, and sterile processing. All these might be very, very new for you guys, the terms, but these are something that is very, very huge market and is a very good scope for biomedical engineers to not only work but to innovate, because all these devices that you see here are constantly being innovated by biomedical engineers. You might think, okay, there is a product, and how can I make it more easy for the patient, more comfortable for the patient? And you're going to make a change in that, and you're going to present it, and there you go. You have created something new, and you become an entrepreneur. So, I just want to make you understand the importance of the medical device and our scope even in this industry. I hope you guys understood. Okay. So now you've seen what is a medical device, what is a medical instrument, and of course, these medical device and medical instruments are being manufactured. First of all, the idea has been created, the manufacturing has happened, and there is a big manufacturing industry that creates or that produces this medical instrument or device. And now they are going to sell it. They're going to sell it to people. They're going to sell it to hospitals, and the end result is it's going to reach the patient and make them happy. Okay, so these medical the medical device companies or instrument companies, they are either manufacturers or sellers. Okay, either they manufacture or they buy and sell from someone. and they hire biomedical engineers for various roles and responsibilities. So where does a biomedical engineer fit inside these companies? What are the different roles that you're going to play in these companies? And I myself working in such a company, I'm going to give you the main areas where you're going to work. Okay. So of course, the first important thing and a very common thing that every one of you will tell, service. Okay, I'm there, I'm in this this position. Of course we take care of service, but it doesn't mean that we are always running behind a faulty instrument. We are just going to do some electrical, some changes and make it work. No, we are going to be a part of the life cycle of the instrument. So an instrument is being installed or in a hospital, even though you are in the company, you're in a company. So I, as a biomedical engineer, as a service guy in a company, make sure that this instrument or a device is functioning well as per the standards, as per the way it is supposed to, and at the end it is actually helping a patient as it is meant to be. Okay, so in a company, a service engineer is always a biomedical engineer, and it's not always the same position you're going to be. Okay, you're going to be first a service engineer, you're going to be then a specialist, and then you can even go to managerial positions. Okay, you can be the service manager of an entire country. For example, there are service managers of India, service managers of South India. So you can reach managerial positions even though you start as a service guy in a company. Next is application. Why we need application? Application guys deal with how the customer or the patient or the doctor mainly uses the instrument. So I'm going to talk to you more about how people in the hospital do not even know how to use an instrument. But as a people who sell this instrument, so you are designing an instrument and you're going to sell it to customers, and they're going to use your instrument. How will they use it without knowing how to use it? So you're going to transfer this application knowledge to the customer or the person who's going to use it. Sometimes doctors, how to use the instrument in an effective way. And also you're going to continue this process until the customer uses this product. So in a company, they hire biomedical engineers as application guys who are going to deal with this, because who better to do this work, who knows both the medical aspect of the instrument and also the technical aspect of the instrument. If you leave a scientist or a doctor to do this, is not going to be very effective, right? So this is a very interesting job in which you're going to deal with both the sides. So these are service and application is a very core work of a biomedical engineer. And then I'm going to skip this and come later. Clinical. So I just put clinical because there are several roles related to clinical. So clinical, you're going to do also marketing, and clinical, you're also going to do, the application part, in which you're going to work as a bridge between the company, okay, the company and the client, the customer, who is the doctors or surgeons or the user. You're going to pass on information from both sides. You're going to tell the customer or the doctor on the aspects of this instrument or a device and how better to use it. Okay, and you're also going to give feedback to the company on what the patient wants more. You're going to analyze more. You're going to read more papers. You're going to come up with ideas on how to make our product better, because every day there is innovation. So you're going to be a bridge between these two people, and you're going to help the research and development team to come up with better solutions, better products, and better instruments to satisfy the ever-growing field. So this is a very, very interesting field of clinical studies. And of course, the research and development. So people, students who want to continue their education can of course opt for research and development. Every company you take who are manufacturers have their R&D department. So if you, as I already showed you, my company, they dedicate a huge part of their profit every year into R&D, more than paying to the other people who are working. So why? Because the medical our field is growing, ever growing, and there's innovation coming every day. So we have to be, up to date, and we have to provide recent advanced solutions to our customers. So research and development team, they are not only made up of scientists, biological scientists, but of course biomedical engineers. So you're going to, this is very, very fun part where you're going to be continuously learning, continuously keep applying your newly learned knowledge on actually developing something, some new instruments or new technologies, new solutions. And is a very, very integral part of the company and the company's growth and sustenance in the medical field. So you're going to be, if you ask me what roles immediately after I graduate, what I'm going to get into R&D, of course you're going to get into R&D, but not into an R&D, top level manager. You're going to be as an intern. You're going to learn. You're going to learn more about that particular line of industry, and then you're going to develop yourself and then apply ideas and then come up in that direction. Okay. And then IT software, I put IT and software here, is also a part of the service and application team, because more and more products, more and more instruments nowadays are going much digitalized. So the monitors or the ECG machines that we had earlier like several years ago is not what we have now. Now we have watches, wearable watches that are actually measuring our ECG. So what is an IT person does? He actually specializes in medical technologies. So any medical equipment manufacturer, has a medical device that is not going to run on its own. It is going to have a software that is going to run it. Okay, it's going to have its own software, and you can't just hire a computer science engineer or an IT guy just to develop this software. Of course, many manufacturing people do that, because we don't have yet trained biomedical engineers who are more having IT knowledge as compared to IT guys. Okay, but why am I telling this here is that IT is something that is very, very essential as a biomedical engineer. So when your professors tell you to learn C programming, to learn MATLAB, to do programming in MATLAB, you're not going to tell why I'm going to use MATLAB and not concentrate on it. MATLAB is something very, very important, and not only MATLAB. I'm talking about any software application that is. So try to build more software skills, and it's going to help you a lot, because you're going to have the knowledge of biomedical, and now you have the software knowledge, and this is going to help you a lot in positions such as this. Okay, so tomorrow a company wants a position here, opens a position here in their IT and software development team, and they have two candidates. One is a guy from your computer science department and one from a biomedical department, and you are also very strong in software. They will of course give preference to you because you already have the biomedical knowledge, and you will give more to the company, right? So biomedical engineers, especially in several countries here, they hire only biomedical engineers, because we know the medical aspect and the pathos related to biomedical and the medical field. And then quality and regulatory. So any company that you take is going to have quality and regulatory. What is quality and regulatory? So I know many of you heard about, FDA, CDC. So these are all governing bodies, right? So they're going to accreditate your company and to tell that this company is capable of producing quality goods. And regulatory bodies are something, they give a set of rules and regulations that a company should comply in order to sell certain medical equipments, okay, because it's going to affect patients. So you're going to tell, why is a biomedical engineer going to be recruited here? Of course, biomedical engineers are also recruited here, okay, especially in high-end manufacturing device companies. So there is going to be lots and lots of procedures and lots of protocols that you're going to learn. You're going to apply. You're going to manufacture your equipment in such a way that it's complying with all these rules and regulations. Okay, in that sense, quality and regulatory is also a huge scope where a biomedical engineer is going to be hired. And coming to marketing and sales, so maybe you might need an additional degree in management, okay, to work in sales and marketing in any company. But that is not always the case, okay? There are companies that hire you just because you're a biomedical engineering, and they're going to put you in sales and marketing because there is no one better to do it than a biomedical engineer, because you're going to sell your product to not normal people, but doctors and surgeons. And these are some people who are, not so easy to satisfy, right? And a normal salesperson cannot just speak in a language that only doctors will understand. And we as a biomedical engineer know this language. We're going to talk the language of the doctors, and we're going to talk in a way that our product is being acceptable by them. And that is why in sales and marketing of a company, biomedical engineers are hired. We are made to, we are given special trainings on sales and marketing if you don't have a course in management. And we are going to be a part of this big company, big sales team, where we're going to talk more about our product to the public. We're going to talk to the customers, and we're going to sell our product. So what is meant by consultant here? A consultant can be private or as part of the company itself. A consultant actually does all these work that I already told you. He's going to be aware of all these things, and he's going to be a bridge between the customer and the company. Why a company needs a consultant is because every company cannot be directly present in everywhere to make it sell. So a consultant is, maybe there can be private consultant where you're going to do all these jobs, okay, and you're going to work on behalf of the company, and you're going to work in different location than the company. So I hope you understood the various roles that a biomedical engineer has in a company. If you have any doubts on any topic, please feel free to put it in the chat, or at least give me, put on your microphone and start talking. Okay, just stop me wherever you want. So, so what I'm trying to tell is that in a company, you can see that these are almost all the different lines of work that is present in a medical company, right? And you see, we as a biomedical engineer fit almost everywhere. We fit almost everywhere. So that is something that is really a very satisfying and a proud aspect of a biomedical engineer, because you can work anywhere if you have the proper skills. Anywhere in the sense that any line of job profile in a company, if you have the necessary skills. Okay, so So these are the, coming back to the main topic, these are the roles inside companies like the medical equipment and medical manufacturing device company. So now, moving ahead, biomedical engineer in a hospital. Okay, biomedical engineer in a hospital. What does a biomedical engineering do in a hospital? Anyone I know, and this is something I talk about when I was there I was at the at the university studying bachelor's. The only thing I knew, okay, biomedical engineers in the hospital, they're going to go around the hospital, repair instruments, and that's it, right? This is something that is commonly understood by us when we are in studying. So this, but I'm here to tell you that that's wrong, because biomedical engineers' role in a hospital is so huge. Okay, they are not only directly helping in repairing an instrument and making it work, making sure the instrument is being maintained throughout its lifetime. No, we are not only in that. We are a part of a very big team. We are also a part of the managerial decisions, where we are going to tell the hospital why the hospital should buy this instrument, why this hospital should go with this particular line of devices that you're going to buy. Because the doctors or the surgeons always come with a request. I'm going to give you a small a cycle. The doctors come with a request. Okay, I need a new ECG machine. Okay, I'm going to do an ECG machine. And there are so many companies that manufacture ECG machines. They are always on the lookout, and they come to the hospital. Okay, I'm selling ECG machine. I'm selling ECG. There are many people here, and some of them may be your colleagues who are working in the company, and you are there in the hospital. Okay, and they are coming to try and sell their instruments. And what do you think? The doctor in the hospital will make a very good decision in deciding which ECG is the best for him? No, a doctor will not do a good job, because for him everything is measuring ECG, and he will be confused to which, and he will go for which sales guy does a good job in talking friendly with the doctor. No. So the hospital hires you as a biomedical engineer and lets you decide, because you're taking care of ECG in the hospital, and now you're going to decide which ECG is the best. So you're going to compare. So your knowledge on ECG, your knowledge, your updated knowledge on the innovations that are already there in the ECG field, okay, you're going to use all these things, and you're going to compare, and you are going to suggest the hospital, telling that, okay, according to my expertise, this instrument, this company, and this instrument is good, and let's go with that. And there stands a biomedical engineer, because your decision matters in a hospital, and you are going to be asked a lot of questions in a hospital, important questions. So it's not always about just repairing instrument. It's about you deciding for the hospital, and for the hospital, I mean for the patients. You are, as I always tell you, the goal of biomedical engineer should always be what? The betterment of the patient, okay? Betterment of the patient. So you're going to think that. So you see how huge our responsibility is. And that is one example. And as you see in this picture, this guy, this biomedical engineer, is teaching doctors. So I'm going to tell you something for people who are going to work in a hospital in the future. Doctors are not so friendly as you see them with patients towards a biomedical engineer, okay? You're going to fight a lot with them, especially if you're going to make decisions for them, because a doctor will think he's the best, but no, biomedical engineers are always the best, okay? So you're going to have a very important role in a hospital to teach doctors. Yes, you're going to teach doctors, not only doctors, but also technicians or nurses in the hospitals. So what are you going to teach them? You're not going to teach doctors about their job. You're going to teach them how to use your instrument. Okay, you're not going to do much things. So you're going to install a new big instrument on a hospital, MRI machine or whatever, an ECG or even a bed, an ICU bed that you see. A doctor will not know how to use it. I mean, he will know how to take an ECG, of course, but this instrument is new, the application is new, the software is new, and they will not use it in a proper way. So you will have training courses. You will be training them. You will make sure that they do it correctly. And sometimes you're going to also scold them when they're not doing the correct job. Okay. So it might be really funny and really interesting for you to know that many doctors, okay, there are 3 different categories of doctors you can see in a hospital. Okay, just generalizing. Okay, one category are highly experienced and very old doctors who rely only on your antique methods of medical technologies. Okay, they don't want to use an automated, a digital blood pressure monitor, because their mind is always thinks that the manual sphygmomanometer is the best way to measure. And your job is to make them, tell them why this is going to be useful, and you're going to tell them. And the middle category is easy. They are young doctors. They are good. They are having a good exposure, and they will be very easy for you to deal with. And then there are the categories of doctors who are just like you guys. Okay, you guys graduated just from an engineering college, and you're a biomedical engineer, and they have just graduated from medical college, and now they are fresh medical doctors who are going to be placed in an ICU or in a trauma room or whatever. And they have, trust me, zero idea, some of them, on how to use some instruments. And this is very, very problematic, okay? Because they are doctors and they're supposed to know it, okay? So your job is to teach them. Okay, your job is to teach them not only on how to use it, the risks associated with it, and how not to use it. Okay, so I can give you several examples of cases where I saw young doctors who didn't even know how to turn on an ECG machine. They didn't know how to print an ECG machine. They didn't know how to use a simple laryngoscope. Okay, they don't even know how to use a simple device. And even though it's funny, it's your big responsibility in a hospital. And then another quick thing is that you as a biomedical engineer can be a part of the planning of a hospital. Okay, this is a very big responsibility. This is not something you're going to achieve immediately after your graduation, but of course, this is something that is also requiring biomedical engineer support. What is the planning of a hospital? Okay, every hospital you see are always on the constant path of improving and developing their hospital. So there are hospitals being built as we speak. There are hospitals that are being expanded as we speak. They are building new departments, new hospitals as such, and new OTs or whatever. So in planning how to build a hospital or a department, we are very, very essential as a biomedical engineer. Why? Because not only we are going to help them in deciding which instruments that we need to be placed there. We are not only going to talk about that. Even the simple thing of designing the room, for example, they want to build a cath lab or whatever, a small little lab, and they are telling, okay, this space is enough, I will build it, but there's going to be a big problem. As a biomedical engineer, you're going to see if these dimensions are correct, if there is enough power supply, if there is proper grounding in that place, and then you're going to measure the instruments. You're going to see a plan where these instruments are going to be placed so that it uses best. Okay, and then you're going to give plans, and you're going to even help in the financing of this. And this is a complete project that you're going to work with. And biomedical engineers are the 90% people who are hired as a part of a project that comes up with, expanding of the hospital. It's very, very important. And it's very, very fun to work with. And, so these are the several, roles and responsibilities of a biomedical engineering hospital. Okay. I'll tell one more thing very quickly, especially in India, is that Biomedical engineers also have a role in the accreditation of the hospital. So if you take India, India has a national accreditation board of hospitals called NABH. Okay, they are based in Delhi. They are a big regulatory office or a big regulatory body which will certify a hospital, telling that this hospital is good, you can go there. And how they do it, they have several rules and regulations, a big book of rules that every hospital should follow. And more than 50% of that this book is dedicated to, you know, medical devices and all these things. So what you're going to do as a biomedical engineer, you're going to make sure this is followed. You're going to help the hospital get its accreditation by making all these changes. Okay, so even here, quality and control is something very essential. And as a biomedical engineer in a hospital, you are going to be taking part in this. Okay, so these are some of the major things that a biomedical engineer does in a hospital. But trust me, in India, now is a very good situation because the importance of biomedical engineer is being recognized, and several hospitals are now having a very strong biomedical engineering team where, you know, even young graduates are being hired, they're being trained, and you're going to do all these things that I told you just now. Okay, we're going to do all these things. But there was a time when we were there where a biomedical engineer being hired in a hospital was a kind of a joke. Okay, because people didn't understand and doctors didn't properly understand the importance. So I remember going to a hospital to being interviewed by the head doctor or the head you know, of the hospital, who was a doctor actually, and she asked me this question: why do I need you? There are, if an instrument breaks down, I will call the company person to come and fix it. Why do I need you as a biomedical engineer in a hospital? She didn't want me. Okay, but now, as I told you, of all the responsibilities that I told you, over the course of years, doctors and managements in the hospital has finally understood that we as biomedical engineers do a better job than the people who they hired. Okay, so this is a very good time that you guys are getting, you know, into the field where there's a huge scope of biomedical engineering in a hospital in India. So okay, so let me go to the next topic. I mean, next industry that I had was the pharmaceuticals. So you might think that pharmaceuticals or pharma companies, as they call, you know, India, they are just going to develop you know, drugs. They're going to just develop drugs or medicine or COVID vaccine, for example. And I'm a biomedical engineer. I'm just going to be you know, dealing with instruments and equipments. What am I going to do in a pharmaceutical company? Okay, no, you are wrong, because drug delivery systems are actually a biomedical, you know, a wonder that is being very growing, a very important field of research that is going on currently. So I think many of you guys, I mean, if you take past projects or past thesis that students do are mostly based on drug delivery system, because it's being, you know, growing a lot. So drug delivery systems, you know, drugs are, you know, medicines that go into your body to make something, you know, better, or destroy something in some cases, like cancer cells. And there are several ways to deliver drugs into your system, you know, through the mouth, through the blood, through intravenously, through the eyes, through the nose. Okay, so there are several ways. And what does a drug delivery system does? Okay, it's going to administer all these drugs into your body in a systemized way. Okay, in a systemized way. And this I'm talking about here is the technology that is going to be associated with it. And on the right, you can see there are so many agents. I'm talking about a lot of particles and all these things. This comes under more nano particle or nano engineering field. Okay, so you're going to deliver the drugs in a very in a different way, in which you incorporate some biomedical sciences, and of course there is biomedical technology more into it than engineering. Okay, I'm going to give you examples so that you understand this even better. Okay, on drug delivery systems, I don't know how many of you are aware of syringe pumps. So syringe pumps are a biomedical device that you can see in any hospital, any room, any ICU or ward. You can see this device. What it does, you know, the drugs are given through syringe into the body to patients, and not all the time it's like you're going to just take a measure of the drug in the syringe and you're going to put them. Sometimes through to bedridden patients, we need we need the drugs to be administered to their body in a particular rate. For example, 0.5 microliter of this particular drug should go into the system every minute inside the patients. So every minute a nurse cannot measure 0.5 microliter and inject into the body. So what does this system do? This is a very simple device. It has a pump and all these motors and very small device, and you're going to fix a syringe on top of it. You're going to load it with the drug, and you're going to connect this to the patient to his to his catheter. And when you set all your details on what rate this drug has to be delivered to the body, this device is going to slowly administer this drug, deliver this drug into your body intravenously. So this, I told you, this infusion pump or a syringe pump is a drug delivery system. Okay, so do you think that drug delivery, these syringe pumps and infusion pumps are not all the time developed by medical manufacturing companies? Okay, because they are not super big, but they are manufactured by pharmaceutical companies because they develop the drugs. They also develop the method to deliver these drugs to the body. So there you go. There you fit as a biomedical engineer in the pharmaceutical company. And if you go into the nano part of the drug delivery system, there are ways in which you can deliver drugs into the body to treat cells like cancer cells. So you're going to develop some nanoparticles that actually has the drugs and can be easily absorbed by the body and then going to do. So there are people who are working with carbon meshes, okay, carbon meshes, or there are even people who are working with capsules, with some with these carbon meshes that are going to go into the body and get and going to be targeted to these specific cells. So we are going to, so when we ingest a medicine, it's going to be absorbed throughout the body, but we need certain drugs to go only to target several specific cells on the body. Okay, and we are going to work on developing these things, and of course a biomedical engineer is going to do that. So I hope you understand the gist of why a biomedical engineer works in a pharmaceutical company, because it's a huge scope and it's being, growing a lot. If you have any questions, please let me know. Before going into biomedical engineer working in different sciences, I want to quickly tell a very small thing I missed telling here in the biomedical engineer in a hospital. During the during the COVID pandemic, okay, that is still throughout the globe, it's still shaking up. We have heard lots of stories about doctors, nurses, technicians being working non-stop in hospitals and losing themselves, losing their family members, and heavily affected by the pandemic because they sacrificed a lot, they did a lot. Of course, highly appreciate doctors and nurses and for all their jobs. Okay, it's a very difficult situation, but some the category of people who have been forgotten by the media is, the category of biomedical engineers. So I'm going to tell you, because there have been a lot of my friends who are working in not only in hospitals, but directly inside hospitals as from company also, as a biomedical engineer who has been affected a lot due to the COVID. And they have been working tirelessly as tough as a nurse or a doctor during this COVID situation. Even, so much in India, and they are still working and struggling in India. So you should be proud to be, a biomedical engineer, because you are being in patient care, and you are doing something that is really, making a difference in the patient life. I know some of my friends who are biomedical engineers and who has lost their lives, working inside the hospital in the COVID wards, because that you have been hearing a lot about COVID and all these things. The most common terms you're using is that ventilation, oxygen supply that the COVID patient needs, and ventilators. Ventilators is a big part of the biomedical market. So every hospital doesn't have the hundreds and hundreds of ventilators, and there are many other methods to deliver oxygen to the body, and these new devices cannot be immediately used by even doctors. So our team of biomedical engineers all over the world has been fighting alongside doctors, helping them deliver the best to the patients, and have been an integral part of this global fight that we are going on. So I would like to take this moment to appreciate this, and also make you, feel proud to be going towards the direction of biomedical engineering, because tomorrow it's going to be you who's going to make this impact on patients. Thank you. So moving on, as you saw here in the first slide, we saw about equipment manufacturers, suppliers, we saw the roles in hospitals, we saw the roles in medical device management and manufacturers, and also the pharmaceuticals. Now, the medical technology is very, very similar to, it's the lot of topics that I already discussed. It's going to be a lot of software that is going to be incorporated in all these devices. So now the main thing I want to discuss is the health sciences. So tomorrow you're graduated biomedical engineer. So you're not going to always work only as a biomedical engineer, but you're going to specialize in something, and you're going to move in a narrow direction, and you're going to do some specific jobs. And what are these going to be? And based on the specific job that you do, you're going to be given different names, and you're not always going to be called a biomedical engineer. So what are these different names that you're going to be given? You see, biochemical engineers. Okay, so when your professor tomorrow teaches you about biochemistry and microbiology, pay attention, because tomorrow you can be a biochemical engineer. You're going to focus on cell structures, microscopic systems, and you're going to create products that are going to not only biomedical waste treatment as is shown here, but you're going to analyze and innovate on how we are going to understand. I mean, you're going to innovate the chemical products that are going to be useful for the patients. Okay. And then there's bioinstrumentation engineers who are more into electronics. If you're more into electronics and computer science, you're going to be a bioinstrumentation engineers. You're going to be, helping developing tools for diagnostics. And not only that, but also measurement principles. For example, a device is going to measure something that is coming from the body, some signals or something that comes from the body, an EEG or an ECG monitor, and you're going to incorporate that into an instrument, and you're going to get it through an electronic structure, and you're going to give a programming to it, and you're going to make it as an instrument. So these engineers who are specializing in these are going to be called bioinstrumentation engineers. And who are biomaterials? Biomaterials is also a very, very famous growing field as a part of the biomedical field. Okay, what is that? So materials, you see a lot of materials that are available. Okay, so what are biomaterials? There are materials that can be a part of our body that our body accepts, right? So our body rejects foreign objects. So we need a material. If it's going to be sent inside the body, for example, you're going to send a stent inside the heart, to make the narrow arteries to expand. These stents should be of a suitable, compatible material that is acceptable by the body. Otherwise, it's going to reject this and is going to fail. So biomaterials engineers study the different materials. They are going to use chemistry. They're going to use a little bit of their material science knowledge. They're going to develop new materials that are acceptable to the body. Okay. And this is something hugely innovative, because I'm going to tell you something that is very, very strange. There are systems that are already developed by biomedical engineers. This is something working between bioinstrumentation engineers and the biomaterials engineers. They have developed a kind of a tattoo, just a sticker on your body. You're going to just stick this tattoo, remove it, and this tattoo has not a photo, but it has microelectronic components inside them. It has sensors, it has micro circuits, all inside a tattoo that is going to be on your skin, and it can be read and is going to measure signals. And this tattoo also has emitters and radiator. These are going to transmit these signals that is going to capture, like through a Bluetooth or whatever, and they're going to capture this data. It sounds like out of a science fiction, but this is something a biomaterials engineer does, because he is studying this the that is actually suitable on the skin, and working alongside instrumentation engineers to incorporate these circuits as thin as the tattoo, that can be used on a very, very easy way. So you see how advanced our field is. And for going on, biomechanics engineer, what a biomechanics engineers does. Okay, so simple thing, you are walking every day. There is your teachers will talk to you about gait cycle. You're walking straight, you're walking in a proper way, and there are lots of thermodynamics attached to how you're walking, how you're functioning, okay, as a person, how your musculoskeletal system works. So biomechanics engineers study this. They're going to study your movements, your bones, your muscles, and they're going to come up with solutions that are going to solve this. And biomechanics always work alongside rehabilitation engineers. Okay, I'm going to talk both also here, because people who lost their arm is going to get a arm, not a transplant, arm implant. It's going to be a device that mimics his performance of a hand. So biomechanics engineer knows the movement of the arm. He knows the signals that are associated with the movement, the proper movement of the arm, and he's going to develop something that is going to be, useful for such patients. So if you're working in that field, you're going to be called a biomechanic engineer or a rehabilitation engineer. A rehabilitation engineer not only always works with implant, an implant or some things. They are going to work in therapies that are going to help a patient recover from their ailment. Okay, if there is a patient who's an accident, got a replacement, has a new leg, he's recovering, okay, but immediately he cannot walk, he cannot do his daily activities. And a biomedical rehabilitation engineer, he creates these tools or devices that can be used by recovering patients to make their life better, to improve their social life. Okay, so so these people, rehabilitation engineers, work more with physiotherapists and also neurologists, because they need to know the functioning of the brain to make sure your body movements come correctly. You're going to be working also with almost all the different areas of surgery, because you don't know from which surgery or which ailment the patient is being recovered from. So we as biomedical engineers are called rehabilitation engineers there, because we're incorporating our knowledge on medical on the patient into the technology that can be used to make them better every day. And then the this topic of clinical engineers. So most of us are clinical engineers who are going to work in healthcare, who are going to work in medical device companies like me, or you're going to work in hospitals tomorrow. All of you guys are going to be called a clinical engineer because we're using this medical technology that is already present to improve healthcare, right? That is what we're going to do in a hospital. So a biomedical engineer working in a hospital is going to be called as a clinical engineer, right? So you're going to call as a clinical, but no one in India uses that term, but around the globe, the term for engineers working in a hospital is called a clinical engineer. So you should be aware of the term. So tomorrow when you are going to introduce yourself, after you got a job in a hospital, you're going to not tell them, I'm a biomedical engineer in a hospital. You're going to tell, I'm a clinical engineer in a hospital. And then you're going to turn some eyes, okay? And of course, there are systems physiologists who are going to use engineering tools to understand how the biomedical system function in their environment. So they're going to, this is a more R&D kind of job in which you're going to use the engineering tools that you have already. For example, software or a device that measures the instrument. You're going to use that and find out more about the human body. Okay. For example, an EEG, okay, an EEG not only is used in a hospital to recognize to understand if the patient's brain is working or not. It is used by system physiologists to better understand the brain because we are still struggling to understand the human brain. So we are using this. System physiologists are always not only scientists and doctors who are neurologists and neuroscientists, they are also biomedical engineers because we developed newer technologies to better capture things from our body and to learn more about our body because we are learning every day. So do you guys understand more about, the various field, various, different branches of biomedical engineering I could call that we are going to work not only in companies that manufacture them, but also to innovate and design these things. So you're going to, so these are so don't think that these are just the only thing available out there. Okay. These are the important things that I felt sharing with you guys, because as I told you, our field is huge. So there are several different narrow fields and lines that are already available, and you are free to take any path you want. So I'll go very quickly because we have 10 minutes more. At the end of this class, some of you, if I was really good, I would have at least some of you would have thoughts about, okay, maybe I can take the course of biomedical engineering, or people who have already taken would think, okay, I did a good job taking the course of a biomedical engineering, and I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to do whichever I like. I'm going to go through that path. I'm going to achieve. I really appreciate it, and I really congratulate you guys in going this path. But the most important thing that you should think, according to me, at the end of this lecture, especially people who are already in the field, in the biomedical program, is to think, what skills do I need to achieve all these things? Because tomorrow, as I told you in the beginning, suddenly you are a graduate, suddenly you studied or you cleared everything and you got good score, and tomorrow today you're a biomedical engineer, and you want a job or you want to go into the field of academics, and do you think that you have these skills? So the question that you should ask, I just listed some very common skills, and the main questions that I want you guys to ask is these questions that I showed in the right. First thing, do I have these skills? Okay. If you have these skills, well and good. Then will I be able to, if no, will I be able to achieve this during my educational course that you are currently doing? Okay. Ask these questions, not only to you, to people who have graduated, people, your professors. Ask these questions. Will these skills come out of my course? If not, how can I get these skills? Because at this point, you are starting your career, your course in biomedical engineering. I think this is very essential because we were very naive at that time. We were just excited to study, but we didn't know that we needed all these skills. We were just studying, and then finally, after graduating, we felt that we didn't have all these skills, right? So if you ponder on these questions, how can I get these skills at this point? At the time you graduate, you're going to already have these skills and be ready. And in case you think I already have some of these skills you listed here, okay, you should think how I can enhance these skills. Okay, because I told you our field is ever expanding, and every day there's innovation. You think of an innovation topic today, you think, okay, I can make this change. Tomorrow, if you see there is something already there, right? So you have to keep enhancing your skills. So let's go very quickly on all these skills. Passion. First thing is passion. Why I put this is not a skill mainly, but why I put passion as a skill is that you want to work in a hospital. That is your passion. And but you somehow you ended up working in a company or something. You're not going to, work in a good way. So the main thing that drives you to work is your passion. You should be very clear. Okay, you should have your priorities set into, okay, take your time. You have time all course of these 4 years. Think on what is your real interest lies. I have described so much of possibilities for you guys. So think where I actually fit, which is to my liking. Maybe this will change. Today you might think something, tomorrow you're going to be learning a new thing in some course, and you can think maybe your mind goes into that part. It can change. But at the end of the day, at the end of the course, have a clear idea on which direction you're going to go. This is going to be really, really important, because you have to work in an environment that you like. Okay, first thing. Second thing, strong basics. So this is something very, very essential, because I know, because being a bachelor's, you're going to be studying a variety of courses. You're going to study maths, you're going to study biochemistry, you're going to study medical physics, you're going to study so much of things. And you will think, do I really, really need to study this? Because, there are lots of theory that's going to come in your course, right? It's not always going to be fun creating all these practical things. You have to study a lot of theory. You're going to write so much of 16-mark questions, But why do we need to know these theories? Is only if your basics are really, really strong, you can innovate, right? You can work on an instrument. If you're going to work on an ECG machine, if you don't know the basics is not only about just knowing the waveform of an ECG. No, you have to know the basic functionality of a heart. And then you're also going to know the basics of what is there inside the ECG machine. You're going to know the transducer or the electrodes, what it's doing, what are the components that it has. It has a transmitter, it's a transducer, whatever it is. So these basics are what your professors are trying to teach you guys. And if you're not strong in these basics, tomorrow you're going to be left out in the open without the basics, and it's going to be really, really hard. You won't have the time tomorrow. You'll be hired for sure, and you're going to work in a company, and without this basic knowledge, you're going to be clueless and in a very bad position. Okay, a very bad biomedical engineer. So my humble request is, make use of this time, learn a lot from your professors, learn a lot, and be strong and confident on the basics. Next thing is practical skills. This is something that is very, very important as a biomedical engineer. But in our course of bachelor's, maybe we will have a strong basics of practical knowledge, but we are not going to get 100% practical skills on instruments. Okay, so you might think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be hired in a hospital. Suddenly you will be called to repair a big instrument, a big machine. Have you ever touched that machine before? No, you have never touched that instrument before. You know the basics, you know what is there inside, you know all these things that it does, but you don't have the practical skill of opening that instrument and seeing what it is, at least the basic model of the instrument. But you know that this instrument in this hospital is cost like 10 lakhs, and suddenly you do something, you're going to destroy that instrument, right? So how can I get practical skills? There are so many courses available. There are so many opportunities available at this point for you guys. Okay, there are not only online courses, there are so many people who are organizing practical coaching classes on instruments itself. Okay, this is, I'm talking about practical skills, not or the laboratory knowledge that your education gives you. That comes under strong basics. You're going to attend an EEE lab or EC lab. You're going to talk about resistors and components and all these things. These are very important for your basics. These are the things that are going to be there on the instruments. Be strong in the basics, then go for other classes, learn more about instruments. There are many people who are providing these kind of information, also online, also in practically, where you can open instruments and try do this. At least in your third year or final year, try to do this, get more practical knowledge so that you are better fitting into the industry. The remaining things are very common. Communication. Okay, so you're going to talk to, as I told you, you're going to talk to doctors, you're going to talk to inside the company, you're going to talk with manufacturers, you're going to talk with scientists, you're going to pass information here and there. And if you are going to, for example, sales person, you need a strong language skills. So improve your communication. Okay, the way you talk, the way you express yourself. So this is something very important. Managerial skills. Management, in a sense, I put that is not only how to manage your activities, is managing your time, managing your the knowledge that you have. Okay, managing the information that you get. This is very, very essential, because tomorrow you're going to be in a very tight schedule. You're going to be doing you are going to have several responsibilities over you. As I told you, in a hospital is not only just repairing instrument. You're going to have so much of activities that you're going to do. So if you don't have the managerial skills to do everything correctly, you're going to mess up in everywhere. Okay, you can't tell that you're going to be in a hospital, no, I will only do this, this is my only responsibility. No, you're going to talk a lot. Okay, next is creativity and analytical skills. This is very important, because working in R&D or working in as a scientist in a company, you're going to develop new instruments, you're going to develop new designs, you're going to try to enhance the device that is already there. So you have to have a bit of creativity, have a try to think how I can make this work in a better way, improve your creative skills, attend classes or read books that are going to enhance your creative skills. Okay, and analytical skills. Because why analytical skills? Because there is knowledge everywhere now. Okay, so knowledge management or statistical data management is something that is a very big market now. So you are bombarded with knowledge. So everywhere you see on the internet, there is millions of knowledge on a specific topic that you take. Your analytical skills will help you analyze first which information is correct, which I can use, and which will be beneficial for me. These skills are very, very essential for a biomedical engineer, because you are as an interdisciplinary course. You're going to have knowledge from all sides. You're going to have medical knowledge, the electronic knowledge, software knowledge, this and so many things. How are you going to analyze these and make it in a way that it's going to be useful for you as a person and your role in this in your workplace? So these are the skills that you need. And so at the end of the day, I want you to ask these questions to yourself and try to work in this way. Okay. And the next thing I want to tell is, okay, I already showed you guys. Common, okay, I know I'm out of time. I will be very quick, okay? Very quick, in another 5 minutes, I'll finish. So the common questions that, or mistakes or expectations of new graduates or people who think to take any course, okay, any course. So this is something not only I'm going to write about biomedical engineering, it's common for everyone. Is these things are the common mistakes that we make, and we end up, not becoming a good engineer. First thing is salary expectations. So a biomedical engineer, imagine you are a fresh graduate. You don't know so much about an instrument. But tomorrow you're going to be working in a hospital or company, and you're going to deal with huge instruments and very costly, effective instruments that are going to affect the patients. Leave about the cost, that is going to have a direct impact on the patients. And without experience, okay, without experience on that instrument, do you think that if you maybe do something on the instrument, will it be really effective? Will it not cause more damage than good? Of course it will not cause. So especially biomedical engineers like us. So what should be our main aim when we graduate, when we go into our first job? Our main aim is to learn and to develop our skills that I already mentioned to you. At this point, a company may be giving you, some companies might give you a good salary, but not all companies are going to give you a good salary, because they know that you are starting up and you're having no experience, and your job will not be much other than only learning. So for sure, your salary is going to be very, very low compared to other department people who are going to be in other positions. Do not have this, immediately that you have to have a very good salary. You are going to have good salaries in the future. It depends on how much skills that you get in the first 2 years of your career. Okay. So don't make this mistake. Second, don't expect to be put as a big position immediately. You're not going to be, maybe you're not going to even be a biomedical engineer in a company immediately. Maybe you will be an intern. Maybe you will be given very basic positions. Take it and learn. Okay, this is my advice. The third thing is that fast change of jobs or companies. So I have helped many of my juniors and other students get into very good companies. Okay, and this I do because I really want them to work in good companies. But what I hear as a feedback from the company later, after I get them the job, is that, okay, you got as a good guy or girl who's working very good. Not even 6 months, not even 1 year, they want to resign the company and they want to move on different company. This might work in other fields like software or whatever. But as a biomedical engineer, it's very, very essential for you to hold on to a company, learn as much as you can. Do not think, okay, another company is going to pay me more, let me jump immediately after 6 months. No, you stay in the company as long as you can still learn from the company. Okay, so this question was asked by me when they when they hired me in this company. They asked me, how long will you stay in our company? Because for us in Werfen, so many people who are working in Werfen are not working for 2 years or 3 years. They're working for 20 years and 30 years. Okay. So they're asking me, we want our people to work many years in our company. How long will you work? Will you go back to India? Will you go back to other companies? The answer that I gave is that as long as I can learn from your company, I will work in your company. This should be your only answer to any position that you have. Okay. Next two things are I'll go very quickly. Already mentioned, no clear job strategy is that you should know first what really you want to work on. Okay. Where you really want to work. You should not have this passion to work in a hospital and end up working in a corporate. You will not do a good job. Your mind will always be to change jobs. So have a good, clear job strategy. Next is a very common thing is having a bad resume, not having a proper resume, and having showing, presenting yourself in a good way so that, you're not hired properly. So these are the common mistakes that we make as new graduates. So actually, these are all the things that I prepared. And if we are already out of time, I had, of course, the idea to discuss about higher education with you guys. If we have 5 minutes, I can quickly go ahead. What do you say?
You can proceed, Jonathan.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So higher education. First of all, for higher education, I should, as I told you already, have your goals straight. Okay, be very sure that you want to do your higher education, because I know people who come outside just because they feel that others are doing it and their parents are forcing it. No, if you are happy with what you are doing, please continue. But if you really want to explore more, I highly recommend, okay, even those people who don't have the idea of doing higher education, I highly recommend you guys to think of that as an opportunity. Because what higher education means, it doesn't mean just only masters, okay, it just doesn't mean masters or PhD. There are also specialized courses that are available all over the world that is going to give you not a master's degree or a PhD degree, but some specialized degrees, specialized certificate on certain courses or certain topics that can be useful for you guys. Okay, so doing masters is like doing higher education. Again, if you decide it, there are two things. One is either to do it in India itself. There are lots and lots of opportunities, of course, in India as well. Okay, you can go ahead, it's not a big thing. But there are even more opportunities available all around the globe. And the best part is, as a biomedical engineer, most of the universities abroad, they provide free education. They provide full scholarship. They want you to come and learn in their universities. Okay, so so your goal should be, if you think that you want to go in a very top universities, and you want to get into it without any paying a lot of fees, of course it's going to have an impact on your finance of your family. It's going to affect you financially to invest in learning masters, of course. But of course there are so many options available in European countries, especially. I'm not talking about the US because it's a huge money market, but especially in the Europe, there are several universities that is providing you free education. Actually, they're not going to ask you to pay. They just want you to come and learn. Okay, but they have certain expectations of you. They have a very strong recruitment process in which you have to clear to get into the university. So try to analyze where you want to go and which university you want to go. Even now at this point, you can understand what are the skills that they ask, and try to get these skills as you study and reach the end of your career. And another thing is that what I want to say is that why you should go to an abroad country, a different country, is not only that you're going to learn in a different environment, is you're going to meet a different people. Okay, you're going to get a different ideas, and you will see how different ideas and a wide knowledge range of ideas that people from different geographies of the world bring into. So if you're going to study in a different university away from India, you're going to meet people. You're going to meet not only the people from that country, okay, but you're going to meet a team of international students who are bringing ideas from different countries, and you're going to work with them. You're going to share your ideas, your culture with them, and you're going to get involved in their cultures as well. So this is it will be a very good experience for you, as a person. And this is something that I tell you, which is very essential for a biomedical engineer, because a biomedical engineer cannot be inside a small bubble. They should be, aware of everything. And what best way to do it is to come out of our country and to learn the different things that are available outside our country. Of course, sitting in our country, of course, we will know more, all the information that will be provided. But it's even better when you are there, when you have this information. And of course, I don't tell you should all go abroad and work for a different country. No, I really support working for our country and to develop the biomedical engineering in our country. It's very, very crucial in this stage in our country as well. What I'm telling you is, bring the idea, come abroad, bring this idea to India, bring all these knowledge that you got together in India, and make the biomedical engineering in our country a better place, okay, than today. So I'm sure that Usha's professors here will give you my information, my contact. I am available for clarifying any questions that you have, not only on the field of biomedical engineering, but also on the prospects that you have over here. Okay, so I think that's it, and thank you so much for your attention. I hope I didn't bore you with lots of information, and I hope your knowledge is a little bit clearer, the fog is a little bit clearer, and you have a clear idea on where you're going to be in the near future. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Janardhan. It is a very informative section actually. Actually, you cover almost all the areas. Okay, so it's a very good experience for the students also. And whoever is coming to the newly to the department also, it should be good. And now I call upon Judy Simon, Mrs. Judy Simon, Assistant Professor of Biomedical, to say the vote of thanks. Judy, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I would like to thank our management of SRM Institute of Science and Technology campus for giving us an opportunity to conduct the international webinar on roles of biomedical engineering in medical field. Next, I would like to thank our HOD, Dr. Fanikuma, and Dr. Ushas Madam for their continuous support for conducting this program. A big note of thanks for our guest speaker, Mr. Janardhan Panchakumar, who wholeheartedly accepted our invitation and enriched us with his wonderful knowledge about biomedical engineering and opportunities of biomedical engineering. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Yes, sir. Dear participants, thank you for all your active participation, and I'm sure that it was a useful session for all of you. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you once again. And if you have any doubts on anything, please do contact me. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence.